when I was working in Boston at WAF, the only station that really rocks, we were killing it, but they were taking advantage of us and they weren't paying us that well. I think I left Boston making 60, maybe 70,000 a year. Now that's a lot of money. I'll never say that's not a lot of money. Of course it is. But for what we were doing, and we were beating the guys at BCN who were making hundreds of thousands of dollars. We were so underpaid. And for what we accomplished in Boston, they should have just gave us a shit ton of money. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to blow it up and move on, because I gave them every opportunity in Boston. I just in the end was smarter than them. They thought they had us, and they kept giving us measly raises. We've told those stories over the years where Bruce Midman at a Chinese restaurant. This is the short version. It was time to negotiate and give us a new salary. We're eating a Chinese buffet. It was like $7 a person, and we were number one in all our demos, beating BCN, which was it was deemed impossible at the time. We were the first radio show that actually beat a show on WBCN because we had a bad signal. So anyway, it was time to get another raise, and we're at a Chinese buffet on Route 9, somewhere outside Natick. And it was like $7 a person. The GM took us there to like wine and dine us. And then, it was obvious why we were there. And then he's like, all right, boys, time for a raise. You guys are doing great. And he slides a paper over like he's a mafia boss or something. He slides a paper over to me and Anthony. And God, I love this about Anthony. I'll tell you stuff I love about Anthony when I can remember him. Anthony picks up the piece of paper and goes like this, looks at it, and just starts openly laughing at Bruce Mittman, our boss at the time. And we had no choice, so we had to sign another shitty contract. And then, I was obsessed with getting us out of there. And that's why we pulled the mayor's prank and everything else, stuff I didn't talk about for many, many years. But it was all calculated on my part, because then New York came a call and they really, really wanted us. And I'm like, all right, I got to get out of this contract, because they even said, too bad you're in a contract. I'm like, I'll take care of that. And I did with the mayor's prank. And the rest is history. But to your question, Manosh, so then we moved to New York in 98. And we were negotiating because WNEW wanted us, and K-Rock. K-Rock was Howard Stern's station. And then Howard Stern, that big baby, I'll say it every single time. No, not basically, he did, because it came out. He told the station that he didn't want us on the same station as him. So then we had to go to a really crappy radio station at the time, WNEW. So it's pretty amazing what we accomplished in New York, because NEW was dead in the water. But anyway, so now we're negotiating a contract with CBS Radio, and the first offer came in. It was well over $100,000. So we were pretty much doubling our salary from the Boston days. And I was like, holy shit, being a kid from Long Island with no money, I'm like, holy crap, where do we sign? And Bob Eatman, my agent, who's no longer with us, which just sucks to this day too. I'm like, where do we sign? Can we sign tomorrow? Like, I was panicking because I was like, holy crap, that's a lot of money. I could do a lot with that. I could pay off student loans, pay off my car. I could do all sorts of things. And Bob, I remember, he goes, relax. I'm gonna get so much more money than that. And he did. I think we settled in, Manosh. We settled in. I want to say close to $200,000 each. So go after yourself, Bruce, and your stupid pushing of the paper at the Chinese restaurant on Route 9, thinking you had us. And then we just crushed it. And then it was time to negotiate another deal in I think 2000, and that's when we became I believe we became millionaires in 2000. They were going to give us a kind of a who gives a crap raise. And once again, I'm like, all right. And at that point, Q104, which was the big rock station in New York, they came a call and they're like, what is it going to take to get you over here? We want to put you guys up against. I knew my batteries were going. All right, that's fine. I'm wrapping up anyway. So You could hear me, I'm assuming. So then we went to CBS Radio. We're like, look, your race sucks. I mean, we more or less said it in a probably a more professional way. We're like, your race sucks. We're killing it. It's obvious. We want to be syndicated. At this point, they weren't willing to syndicate us. They just wanted to give us another raise and keep it at status quo. And we're like, no, we want way more for our careers and our lives. You know, more money we get, we can help people around us. And then we basically said we're leaving. We're going to do mornings at Q104 up against Howard Stern. They freaked the fuck out. And then then the doors opened and they gave us everything. They didn't want us competing with Howard Stern at all. And then Q104 famously told the press, like, you know, it took hours to talk those guys into staying. And they're not wrong. Because, you know, we were in a meeting in a conference room with Mel Karmazin with a giant table, and, you know, he was a scary ass boss, but we had him by the balls. And it's basically like, what is it going to take? And our demands were this and that. And we want to be syndicated back to Boston because we miss Boston. And Q104 is going to syndicate us to Philly and Washington and all these other places. And Mel's like, oh, okay. All right. Can you promise me that you won't sign anything for, I forget, like a week? I'm like, yeah, we could promise you that. All right, that's fair enough. Because he's like, we need to try to figure this out. I'm like, all right. And then we told, you know, Q104 we needed a week to think. And then long story short, we stayed with CBS Radio and they made us millionaires. Manosh. So that was in like 2000. So there you go. And did it freak me out? Yeah, it did freak me out. Because, you know, like when you make money like that, you know, you feel a lot of responsibilities to like people around you, family members and such. And I know I did the right thing when I was making real money, that I took care of people around me as best I could. I know I did that. So it's a little freaky and weird. You know, your whole life changes. You're like counting your money at the grocery store, and next thing you know, you're not looking at labels anymore. It was fucking weird. Yes. And now I'm back to looking at labels. So cheers. Life's weird.